Hey there, English learners! Today we're tackling a common speaking habit that might be holding you back. Are you ready to level up your English? Let's dive in. Have you ever caught yourself saying, "I think," over and over again? It's a phrase we all use, but it can make us sound unsure or repetitive. Don't worry, though, I've got your back with 15 awesome alternatives that'll make your English more dynamic and confident. First up, let's talk about stronger alternatives when you want to show confidence. Instead of "I think," try saying, "I'm convinced that." This phrase packs a punch and shows you really believe in what you're saying. For example, "I'm convinced that practice makes perfect in language learning." Another powerful option is, "I strongly believe." This one's great when you want to express a firm opinion. You could say, "I strongly believe that immersion is the best way to learn a language." If you're absolutely sure about something, go for "I'm certain that." It leaves no room for doubt. Like this, "I'm certain that watching English movies helps improve listening skills." But what if you want to be a bit softer or more nuanced? No problem. Try, "It seems to me that." This phrase is perfect when you're sharing an observation or impression. For instance, "It seems to me that idioms are the trickiest part of learning English." "From my perspective" is another great choice for sharing your personal view without sounding too forceful. You might say, "From my perspective, speaking with native speakers is crucial for fluency." When you want to make a point but leave room for discussion, "I would argue that" works well. It's like saying, "Here's my take, but I'm open to other views." For example, "I would argue that grammar rules are important, but shouldn't overshadow communication skills." Now let's talk about formal versus informal situations. In a more formal setting, you could say, "It is my understanding that." This sounds professional and measured. On the flip side, in casual conversations with friends, you might go with, "I'm telling you." It's more direct and friendly. But what about when you disagree with someone? It's important to do it politely. Try this. "While I see your point, I also consider." This acknowledges the other person's view before adding your own. For instance, "While I see your point about textbooks, I also consider online resources to be valuable for learning." Another polite way to disagree is, "One could argue that." It introduces an alternative view without directly challenging the other person. Like this. "One could argue that learning vocabulary in context is more effective than memorizing word lists." When you want to build on someone else's idea or add to a discussion, to elaborate on that point is super useful. It shows you're engaged and contributing. For example, to elaborate on that point about pronunciation, I find that tongue twisters are a fun way to practice. Similarly, "I'd like to add that" is great for bringing in your own thoughts while acknowledging what's already been said. You might say, "I'd like to add that consistent daily practice, even for just 15 minutes, can make a big difference in language learning." Now, are you ready for a quick challenge? Let's practice replacing "I think" in some common sentences. Here we go. Instead of "I think learning English is important," try "I'm convinced that learning English is important." Rather than "I think this exercise is difficult," say "It seems to me that this exercise is challenging." And instead of "I think we should take a break," how about "I'd like to suggest that we take a break." See how much more varied and interesting those sound? By using these alternatives, you're not just expressing your opinion, you're doing it with style and precision. Remember, the key is to choose the phrase that best fits what you're trying to say and how strongly you feel about it. Are you stating a firm belief? Go for something strong. Sharing a casual observation? Pick a softer option. The more you practice, the more natural these phrases will become. Soon, you'll find yourself automatically reaching for these alternatives instead of the old "I think" standby. So, what do you think about these alternatives? Oops! I'm curious to hear your thoughts on these alternatives. Which ones do you find most useful? Are there any other phrases you like to use instead of "I think"? Drop your comments below and let me know. And hey, if you found this video helpful, don't forget to hit that subscribe button for more English learning tips and tricks. Until next time, keep practicing and expressing those opinions with confidence.